Peace is something every human being longs for, yet most search for it in the wrong places. They chase after achievements, possessions, recognition, or the approval of others, thinking that when they finally gain them, peace will arrive. But no matter how much they achieve, no matter how much they collect, the mind does not rest. It simply moves on to the next desire. This is why true peace cannot be given from the outside. It is something that must be cultivated from within, and meditation is the gateway that opens that path. When you sit in meditation, you begin to turn away from the noise of the world and face the truth of your own mind. At first, it feels uncomfortable because the silence reveals just how restless the mind really is. Thoughts come and go, emotions rise and fall, and the mind runs in many directions. But this is not a failure of meditation. It is the very reason why it is needed. By observing, by sitting still, you begin to see the patterns that normally control you in daily life. In this simple act of noticing, space is created, and in that space, peace begins to grow. Meditation does not mean forcing the mind to be blank. It means training the mind to be aware. The thoughts may still come, but instead of being pulled by them, you watch them. Instead of being lost in them, you allow them to pass. This small shift changes everything, because when you are no longer chained to every thought, you discover that the mind has a deeper layer of stillness. That stillness is the foundation of peace, and it exists within every person, waiting to be uncovered. Through regular practice, this peace grows stronger. Stress no longer shakes you so easily, anger does not rise so quickly, and fear loses much of its grip. The calm you find in meditation becomes a strength you carry with you, and it changes the way you move through life. Relationships become more harmonious, decisions become clearer, and even challenges appear less heavy, because you no longer meet them from a place of restlessness but from a place of centeredness. Meditation is not escape. It is not running away from life. It is preparing the mind to face life fully, with balance, clarity, and strength. Meditation is the gateway to inner peace, and only through walking through it do you discover the stillness that cannot be shaken. Stillness is often seen as doing nothing, but in reality, stillness is one of the most powerful states a human being can cultivate. When the body sits in meditation and the breath begins to slow, the nervous system shifts into balance. Stress hormones decrease, the heart rate steadies, the muscles relax, and the body begins to repair itself. The mind, which is usually pulled in 1,000 directions, starts to settle, and from that settling comes a kind of clarity that cannot be found in the rush of daily life. This is why meditation is not only a spiritual practice, it is also a training of both mind and body to function in harmony. When you are constantly moving, constantly reacting, constantly consuming, the body carries tension and the mind carries noise. Most people live like this without realizing how much energy they waste simply by being restless. But when you step into stillness, even for a short time, you allow energy to return. The body rests deeply, the mind quiets, and from this quiet, focus becomes sharper. This is why meditation improves attention and concentration, because the mind, once scattered, is now gathered into a single point. Emotions also begin to transform in this state. Anxiety loses its grip because the breath regulates it. Anger softens because you can observe it instead of feeding it. Sadness becomes lighter because you see it as passing, not permanent. This does not mean problems disappear, but it means you are no longer consumed by them. Instead, you meet them with balance, with resilience, with the ability to respond instead of react. Science itself confirms these effects. Studies show that regular meditation changes the structure of the brain, strengthening areas responsible for focus, memory, and emotional regulation, while reducing the regions connected with fear and stress. But beyond science, the experience itself is enough. Anyone who has practiced knows the shift that takes place. A mind that once felt heavy begins to feel light. A body that once felt tense begins to feel open. Stillness is not weakness. It is the very state that allows strength to grow. Just as water becomes clear when it is still, the mind becomes clear when it is calm. And from that clarity, both the body and the mind work together, aligned, powerful, and whole. Meditation is the science of stillness, transforming not just the way you think, but the way you live. Many people believe meditation requires a quiet mountain, a temple, or hours of sitting cross-legged in silence. But the truth is far simpler. Meditation begins with small, practical techniques that anyone can integrate into daily life. It is not about escaping the world, but about training the mind wherever you are. And the most powerful techniques are often the simplest ones because they can be repeated consistently until they become part of who you are. The first is mindful breathing. Just by paying attention to the inhale and the exhale without trying to control too much, you create an anchor for awareness. The breath is always with you, and when the mind wanders, the breath brings it back. In the middle of stress, in the middle of noise, even in the middle of work, a single deep breath can return you to calmness. This is not about length of time, but about quality of attention. One conscious breath is more valuable than 1,000 unconscious ones. Another technique is body awareness. Close your eyes for a few moments and scan the body from head to toe. Notice the tension in the shoulders, the heaviness in the chest, the restlessness in the legs. By simply observing without judgment, the body begins to release what it does not need. This awareness strengthens the connection between mind and body, and you learn to sense when you are holding stress before it controls you. A third simple practice is present observation. Wherever you are, bring attention to one thing fully. It may be the sound of birds, the taste of food, the warmth of the sun on your skin. In that moment, there is no past, no future, only awareness. This teaches the mind to return to now, to stop wandering endlessly, and to rest in what is directly in front of you. These techniques may seem small, but practiced daily, they transform. Consistency is more important than intensity. A few minutes each day of mindful breathing, body awareness, or present observation will shape the mind far more than a single long session once in a while. The power lies in repetition, in returning again and again, until awareness becomes your natural state. Meditation is not distant, not difficult. It begins with small, simple steps that open the doorway to peace and clarity. The highest purpose of meditation is not limited to the time you sit with your eyes closed. The true power is when it begins to flow into every moment of your daily life. Sitting in silence may train the mind, but the real test is how you carry that awareness into conversations, into work, into challenges, and into ordinary routines. Meditation is not something separate from life. It is life itself, lived with clarity and presence. When you bring meditation into daily life, even the simplest actions take on new meaning. Walking is no longer just moving from one place to another. It becomes an opportunity to feel each step fully, to connect with the ground, to move with intention. Eating is no longer just consuming food. It becomes a practice of tasting each bite, appreciating nourishment, and noticing the signals of the body. Listening is no longer waiting for your turn to speak. It becomes truly hearing the other person, without judgment or distraction. In this way, life itself becomes the meditation hall, and every moment is practice. This shift transforms how you respond to challenges. Normally, people react out of habit, anger flares, stress takes over, fear clouds judgment. But when awareness from meditation is carried into these moments, you notice the emotions before they control you. You create a pause, however small, where you can choose your response instead of being enslaved by reaction. This pause is powerful. It is the difference between repeating the same patterns and creating a new way forward. Living in this way does not require perfection. You will still face stress, you will still feel emotions, but they no longer dominate you. Instead, you walk with balance. Meditation gives you the ability to return again and again to center, no matter how far life pulls you. And with practice, this return becomes faster, smoother, more natural. The real gift of meditation is not found in escaping the world, but in being fully present within it. Each task, each interaction, each breath becomes an opportunity to practice awareness. And when this awareness is continuous, life feels lighter, more meaningful, more connected. Meditation is not just something you do, it is something you become.